I received some comments about my cat in the previous video that I recorded. I will not apologize for his actions. He is merely following instinct. And if children are watching a video about children being stoned to death, shame on you. Now, to get to the topic at hand, the first question that needs to be answered is, does the Bible approve of slavery? And the answer to that question is yes. And another question is it the bad kind of slavery? As if there's more than one kind. And the answer to that is also yes. The first passage that I'm going to turn to is Leviticus chapter 25, verses 39 through 46. If any who are dependent on you become so impoverished that they sell themselves to you, you shall not make them serve as slaves. They shall remain with you as hired or bound laborers. They shall serve with you until the year of the Jubilee. Then they and their children with them shall be free from your authority. They shall go back to their own family and return to their ancestral property. For they are my servants whom I brought out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as slaves are sold. You shall not rule over them with harshness, but shall fear your God. As for the male and female slaves whom you may have, it is from the nations around you that you may acquire male and female slaves. You may also acquire them from among the aliens residing with you, and from their families that are with you, who have been born in your land, and they may be your property. You may keep them as a possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property. These you may treat as slaves, but as for your fellow Israelites, no one shall rule over the other with harshness. So, we have the sanction of the acquiring of slaves for life, who may be inherited as property, and who also may be treated harshly. How harshly, you might ask? There are some specific guidelines in Exodus chapter 21 about that. I'm going to read verses 20 through 21 and 26 through 27. When a slave owner strikes a male or female slave with a rod and the slave dies immediately, the owner shall be punished. But if the slave survives for a day or two, there is no punishment, for the slave is the owner's property. When a slave owner strikes the eye of a male or female slave, destroying it, the owner shall let the slave go, a free person, to compensate for the eye. If the owner knocks out a tooth of a male or female slave, the slave shall be let go, a free person, to compensate for the tooth. So, you can beat your slaves to death, just make sure they don't die immediately. The next passage that I'm going to go to is about the priestly portion and the establishment of things being dedicated to the Lord and being dedicated to priests. I'm going to read from Numbers 18, verses 8 through 20. The Lord spoke to Aaron, I have given you charge of the offerings made to me, all the holy gifts of the Israelites. I have given them to you and your sons as a priestly portion due to you in perpetuity. This shall be yours from the most holy things reserved from the fire. Every offering of theirs that they render to me as a most holy thing, whether grain offering, sin offering, or guilt offering, shall belong to you and your sons. As a most holy thing you shall eat it, every male may eat it. It shall be holy to you. This also is yours. I have given to you, together with your sons and daughters, as a perpetual due, whatever is set aside from the gifts of all the elevation offerings of the Israelites. Everyone who is clean in your house may eat them. All the best of the oil and all the best of the wine and of the grain, the choice produce that they give to the Lord, I have given to you. The first fruits of all that is in their land, which they bring to the Lord, shall be yours. Everyone who is clean in your house may eat of it. Every devoted thing in Israel shall be yours. Devoted is an important word that I'll bring up again later. The first issue of the womb of all creatures, human and animal, which is offered to the Lord, shall be yours. But the firstborn of human beings you shall redeem, and the firstborn of unclean animals you shall redeem. The redemption price, reckoned from 1 month of age, ye shall fix at 5 shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, that is, 20 gerahs. But the firstborn of a cow, or the firstborn of a sheep, or the firstborn of a goat, ye shall not redeem. They are holy. Ye shall dash their blood on the altar, and shall turn their fat into smoke as an offering by fire for a pleasing odor to the Lord. But their flesh shall be yours, just as the breast that is elevated and as the right thigh are yours. All the holy offerings that the Israelites present to the Lord I have given to you, together with your sons and daughters as a perpetual due. It is a covenant of salt forever before the Lord for you and your descendants as well. Then the Lord said to Aaron, Ye shall have no allotment in their land, nor shall you have any share among them. I am your share and your possession among the Israelites. So, I've now established that Israelites were allowed to own people as slaves, and there were certain portions of offerings and animals which were given to the priests and also to the Lord to be sacrificed. The passage that I'm going to read from Leviticus 27 is verses 16 through 29. I think that this gives enough background, but it may be beneficial to read the entire chapter because it makes a differentiation between things being consecrated to the Lord, which are able to be redeemed, which was mentioned in Numbers, and also things which are devoted to the Lord, which may not be redeemed. So, verses 16 through 29. If a person consecrates to the Lord any inherited land holding, its assessment shall be in accordance with its seed requirements, 50 shekels of silver to a homer of barley seed. If the person consecrates the field as of the year of Jubilee, that assessment shall stand. But if the field is consecrated after the Jubilee, the priest shall compute the price for it according to the years that remained until the year of Jubilee, and the assessment shall be reduced. And if the one who consecrates the field wishes to redeem it, then 1/5 shall be added to its assessed value, and it shall revert to the original owner. But if the field is not redeemed, or if it has been sold to someone else, it shall no longer be redeemable. But when the field is released in the Jubilee, it shall be holy to the Lord as a devoted field. It becomes the priest's holding. If someone consecrates to the Lord a field that has been purchased, which is not a part of the inherited land holding, the priest shall compute for it the proportionate assessment up to the year of Jubilee, and the assessment shall be paid as of that day, a sacred donation to the Lord. In the year of Jubilee, the field shall return to the one from whom it was bought, whose holding the land is. All assessments shall be by the sanctuary shekel. 20 gerahs shall make a shekel. A firstling of animals, however, which as a firstling belongs to the Lord, cannot be consecrated by anyone. Whether ox or sheep, it is the Lord's. If it is an unclean animal, it shall be redeemed at its assessment with 1/5 added. If it is not redeemed, it shall be sold as its assessment. Nothing that a person owns that has been devoted to destruction for the Lord, be it human or animal or inherited landholding, may be sold or redeemed. Every devoted thing is most holy to the Lord. No human beings who have been devoted to destruction can be ransomed. They shall be put to death. Okay? The human beings who have been devoted to destruction by the people who own them. So we're talking about slaves, rightfully owned by the Israelites, who have been devoted to destruction and killed. And by killing them, it's considered to be most holy.